Hello, Tim here. Welcome to Shop Talk with Tim. Today's agenda, I'm going to talk about whittling a simple object that you found. And I found a railroad spike originally used. I actually got this in a museum. And originally I had two or three of these things that I dug up on an old railroad bed when I was in grade school. We go down to where the tracks were removed, but these were still in the ties. And I remember breaking my dad's hammer trying to dig these out. I might have had two or three of them, and I thought we were digging for gold at the time. But I recently acquired this for the sole purpose of doing something that I thought would be interesting, and that's to whittle a copy of it. I just did this, and it didn't take too long. I carved this out of butternut, started with a piece like this. And I'm going to go through the process. Why do something like this? Why bother with this? But what's simple about this is that if you're beginning whittling and maybe all you have is a pocket knife like this, perhaps, and you could do it with just that. I used a couple of different knives that are really designed for this kind of work, and it's easier to have a fixed blade knife than a folding knife. It's easier to hang on to. It's nice to have something that you can really copy from. You can just look at it and copy from. In this case here, this is a round head screw that I got from a shop that was going out of business. And this, if you go to a hardware store, it's hard to find round head screws much anymore, especially slotted ones like this. So this is a little bit an interpretation of, you can see the threads here are a little more pointed. This is my interpretation of it, is a little bit elongated. So to do something like this requires a little bit more skill, but it still is nice to have something to copy from. Being round like this, it rolls around, and I've had it fall on the floor. So I decided to make a flathead wood screw. And I did some of these when I was in high school. I turned the basic shape on the lathe. Now this is a large one. I don't know. This would be maybe a number 16 screw or number 20. I don't know. But it's like 5/16 diameter here. This is about 300% enlargement. In order to aid me in doing this, I made a large template. And it's just kind of fun to have the actual object to see where it starts, how it starts, the pitch, and all that. So creating something like this is more of a conversation piece and just something to do. And it's easy to portable. In this case here, I just had it in my pocket and carried it around. Now, what do you do with something like this? I might make a coat rack. This is basswood. It'd probably be okay, but it might break. I could use it to make, some object of art. But in copying something like this, you got to decide, you're going to make it look like metal. And in this case, I just made it pretty much the same size and left all the tool marks. I didn't sand it or anything like that. And it's pretty much 5/8 square and about the same length. And I'm just leaving it just as it is. It's just a conversation piece. The advantage of having the exact size 1-to-1, like this is pretty much 1-to-1, whereas this one is not. So I would need something to assist me to get the proportions right. But in having this 1-to-1, and this is a very simple thing, I would say, for a beginning wood carver to do. And especially if you're a railroad enthusiast, you could enjoy this, or giving it to somebody who is a model railroader or something like that. So I traced the pattern on here roughly. You want to kind of keep it oversized. And in order to start this, I start from the back. And I don't know exactly where it's going to end up, so I leave a little bit of length on the top and a little bit on the bottom so I can adjust it. This is kind of where I'm going to establish the back here. That's a straight cut in. And this is where I like the curved knife, where I can kind of rock it. And this happens to be butternut, which is really one of the best woods to carve. This and basswood. Pine is okay. But if you want something with some strength, like ash or oak or something like that, you're going to work harder for that. But you could carve that. It carves nicely. It's just you're going to have to sharpen your tools a little more often. So you come in and make your relief cut. Make your stop cut there. Now, one of the things, again, it's the advantage of having an exact copy, original that you're working from. I can trace just where the corners are going to be cut off and how long this all is. So I have might not be able to see it unless I make it darker here. Now, I did rough this blank on the bandsaw, but you wouldn't even need a bandsaw. You could hand saw that. So you notice that I'm using my thumb on the left hand as kind of a fulcrum to push the knife. You don't want to just, free hand it. That way you want to be in complete control so you know where the knife is going to go every cut you make. So you're making a stop cut down here. And I'm going to come in probably about a 1/4 inch maybe. Three 3/16 get enough of this back part established. So once you get that, you're probably 3/16 in here. And that's where I just stop and check my progress. Now I can come back the other way. And you'll notice sometimes the wood will want to dig in one direction, then you maybe need to come back. So this is the other hand position where I have my thumb back here. And it's protected by that cut that I made, so I'm not going to cut into myself. And I would say the thing I enjoy about carving the most, and it might be a little sedentary, you're sitting, looks like you're maybe kind of loafing or something like that, but actually you're creating something, you're enjoying it. And I do meet with a group of other people that will sit and tell stories as they carve and all that. So it's pure enjoyment for me. It's not something that I'm going to sell. I maybe give it to one of my grandkids or something like that. I have carvings that my grandpa did, and I treasure them, but they don't serve any other purpose. But for me now, because I watch YouTube, I see what other people are doing, and I'm on my iPad too much when I'm sitting down. So either I'm playing guitar or I'm whittling, and that keeps me from spending too much time on the screen. That said, I do appreciate people watching my YouTube, but it's to give you ideas of things you can make. So you're never without an excuse of something to make, and you don't need to have a book or patterns or anything like that. You can just find something that you enjoy doing. So once Once I get I sight down this, and I see it's a little bit high right here, but once I sight down this and get this all flat, and I save whittling the point till later, so I just want to get this straight. So I get this side flat, and then I'll come in and kind of guesstimate where this, I'll probably take this side here, kind of guesstimate where, how far this comes in. Lay this on here and just kind of, I can kind of see where I got to come in. It swells out at the top here. My great-grandfather worked on the railroad, and I don't remember seeing him there. He was retired by the time I got to know him, but I remember him sitting in his lap when my sister and I would sit there, and he would sing songs to us. And one of the songs he would sing is "Life is Like a Mountain Railroad." And it's become one of my favorite songs. A lot of people have sung it over the years. I think Jerry Lee Lewis, there's a version of him singing it, and Patsy Cline. So I think about whatever railroad memories I have. I've taken train trips and a couple of times. And I wouldn't say that I'm an active buff, but it just kind of is something that I remember as a kid. And so from digging up these spikes to whittling them, it's just a happy experience. So I'm gonna stop there. When you come to this point here, you don't try to carve the whole thing all at once. What I mean is do any detailing. Just get the general shape, and then the details. So this slopes down. As you can see on here, this is a little domed. And as you start working it down, it'll start to make sense. And pretty much 5/8 square taper down here, and that's it. So you just kind of work it a little at a time. Now, if you're going to do a screw, like I said, this was turned on the lathe first, and then I cut that slot in there. And the flathead screw, it's even hard to find slotted screws anymore, but I have a bunch of old ones. So I like the look of them better. So I filed that, and now I would take, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can take string and wrap it around there, but I found that the string kind of moves around. That's the way I was taught how to do this. And you could probably divide it out 4 ways and connect the intersection points. This is a little more visual. So what I did is I lay this on here, and I see where that point is, and that one there. So I'm just drawing this, looking down at where those points are. I think there's 10 divisions, and you just want to make sure it's equal. And so you just, continue the line around. And as you start to carve this, just start in the middle area, and it kind of becomes self-explanatory as you start going around. But I would get your lines roughed out and spaced appropriately before you start carving anything, because once you do, then you're committed. So That's the wood screw. And then in this drawing here, as you can tell a little bit here, the threads are a little bit bigger than the shank. But that gives me a little extra material if I made a mistake and I needed to correct the point there, I could do so. So the journey is fun, just to find things that are common objects, maybe a little bit rare or something like that. But if it's workable into something that you enjoy doing, like I did with the railroad spike or a large screw or some other, I've got other things in mind that I'm going to do. And it tells a story. These things tell a story to me. And the only tools you really need, I find, is the curved edge one and the straight edge one. You could get those in a pocket knife, but I found pocket knives are a little harder to hang on to for a longer period of time. So a fixed blade knife is your best. Have a lot of fun just finding your own things like that and make a copy of it. So enjoy the journey, and happy carving, happy whittling. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you would, and please give it a thumbs up. And we'll see you next time.